Hey everybody, it's Joey with Created in Awe. I am here on Christina's page, The Rust Cover Cottage by Christina, to show you one of our wood kits that we have in our collection that we work on together. She requested, or I should say several people have requested for someone to demonstrate how to put this kit together, and I thought, you know, when she mentioned it to me, I said, well, perfect, I've been wanting to do this one, so we are doing this kit today. It is the laundry room sign. If you're new, if you've never seen any of these kits before, Christina has a website full of hundreds of kits. They fit every possible crafting style, decorating style, interest level when it comes to crafting. There's a gnat flying around my room. I hope I don't get annoyed by it. We'll see. This one is part of a collection that she and I work on together called Farmhouse Charm, inspired by Joey, and I have a bunch of kits in there that are all, or most all of them are the farmhouse style. You can see some of them back here behind me. I got our medallion out. I love that one so much. We have a Christmas one over here. We have a hinged trio here. We have an interchangeable easel. We have one of our hutch sets. Another interchangeable, which is a tea towel holder. I have cutting boards behind me. I have a sweater weather sign. I love Christina's kits. So, not all of those. That one's not part of my collection, but I love it anyway. This one is, let me turn the whole thing around. I see Miss Ruth. Hello, hello. Let me show you the kit itself. I tend to wiggle and jumble it around, so let me try to get things back in place. This is not glued together, okay, but it is laid out so you can see how generally it will look. We will get it far more precise when we glue it. We have all these individual letters. I'm not going to try to get everything perfect, just generally. Then you have some little lines, you have words up here at the top, you have some trim, and you have this little hanger piece, and it's going to slip right in underneath so that you can see how it all goes together. Now when you get it packaged up, well, when it gets packaged up and shipped to you, it will look very similar to the way you're going to put it together. Of course, we can't keep all the pieces in place while we're crafting. If you need a picture to go by, you can always go back over to the website and look at the listing, and it will show you how the pieces fit. You can also now come on the page, she'll have a photo of this when we're done, or over to my page, Created, and I'll share a photo as well so you can see that. And then you'll have this video available. This is what it's going to look like. Let's take it apart. Oh, thank you. I try to make things look balanced, Christina. I love to showcase at least the kits I've done most recently, but that one was like, what, a year ago? It was one of our first kits, and I love it so much. So I had to bring it back. Had to bring it back for a little while. Let's take this apart. Oh, a couple things you'll want to remember when you're shopping on her website. No shipping cost will be added at the end. So the price you see is exactly what you're going to pay when you check out. There's no surprises, no extra shipping, okay? That is always the case. Let's take it apart. So you have a front piece for your hanger, and then I already showed you have a back piece, so I'm going to set those aside. And then you have all of the letters and the framework that go on top of your base piece. And I am going to move those over to a board that I've used once or twice that has some painter's tape stuck to it. It's with the sticky side up so that I can put little pieces on it so I don't lose them, because Christina knows that I panicked the other day with one of my other kits that in moving it around my room, one of the pieces got lost. And I've been wanting to make that kit for you, and I keep looking and looking, and I finally found it. Christina, don't have a heart attack. I found the little piece that was missing. It's like this big. I found it. So no need to panic. But this kind of situation with the extra tape on a board is going to be helpful as well. So I'm going to move these pieces over. Okay, they don't all have to be on it. Like this frame is large enough. It doesn't have to be on the piece, but on the tape, but it'll fit to where some. I'm going to turn this toward me so it's somewhat in the order it will go in. Okay, and then we're going to talk about colors. I've already seen one of the sweet ladies who follow me and also follows other affiliates has done this kit, and she posted a picture of it over in Christina's group called Cottage, oh gosh, Creatives Cottage, I think is the name of it. So you can post pictures of what you do there as well, and you can see how she's done her kit. Okay, let's just get, I have a second board here I'm going to use for all these letters so that I'm going backward. Let me turn it around. Well, you know, it's okay. Backward, and then I turn the whole thing around, and it's forward. But I don't want to lose the L. And we'll just transfer these over. Now be careful when you pull them off the tape. Since I'm only doing it halfway onto this tape, it'll be really easy to remove them. If you do it fully, you have to be a little bit more careful sometimes that you don't break the letters. So don't forget the dot on the I for service. Okay, so there's all of our letters. Nice and lined up so I can keep track of everything. You will have these two extra pieces that are the front of what is supposed to look like your little clothespins on your hanger. And then you have your backboard. Now what's cool about this, you can see all of the spots are etched in, they're scored in with the laser, so you know where all those parts and pieces are going to go. There's no guessing, there's no trying to line it up or tape it or put a line on there, anything like that. You're going to be able to just boop, 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 line it right up. So we have the letters and all the framework, and I'm going to make one color. And the backboard, I'm going to make another color so it stands out. And then we're going to even go with a third color for the hanger. So let's get going. Let's go ahead and start with the backboard, and then we will work on our letters. I'm going to use, on the backboard, I'm going to use Waverly in plaster. Yes. And then all of my letters and numbers are going to be in Waverly's ink, black. So black on white. You could do white on black. You could do any color combination you like, whether you like teals or pinks or purples or blues or oranges or whatever your color scheme is. I would love to see all the different variations. I see Ellie is here. I've lost track of comments. Let me get back in here and say hi to Rose. You guys are awesome. Uh-oh. Your comment button's not working, Ellie. I'm sorry. I'm glad that you were able to drop something in there. Hi, Miss Francis. Yes, Christina, you can. I almost did that. I almost did that. Made it out of cardboard. Oh, thank you for correcting me. If you do buy the paints from Christina, she has a whole line of paint couture paints. I've got the little ones here, several of them. I didn't have enough left on the ivory to be able to use it. I didn't think, so that's why I'm going with this, and I don't have black. But if you get her paints, there is a little bit of shipping on that. But that is all. And those are a really great deal for a good quality paint. So let's get started. I am not having to be concerned about these lines showing up so that you can see them after the whole project is done. They're actually going to be covered up with all of our letters, right? I only need to be able to see those lines while I'm placing them. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a fairly solid coat of my chalk paint from Waverly. So what color scheme would you pick for this? Okay, so I am not wanting too much on here. So let me go back. Let me go to the lid. Okay, I start with a thin and then I add. So, and I use a sponge dauber because it's a whole lot faster. You do not actually have to worry about painting these guys, okay, because they're not going to show. You're going to have these go on top of them, so don't worry too much about that. You just need the board itself to be painted. So I just get a little bit at a time. And it's going to take quite a bit more. I should have put this into a tray, but here we go. We'll use the lid. Okay. And I try to go with the wood grain when I'm painting, just so that I think it looks a little bit better. But you do what you like to do. I just think it looks better when you go with the wood grain. And if you overlap your layers as you're going over it, you may end up with a heavier paint coat in spots. So you may end up coming back, and I might do that, and doing a full second coat. We'll see how it dries. I'm going to soften that out. And I start in the middle or on the board and move outward toward the outside edge. It helps to make sure I do not have as much paint gather on the outside edges. If I start on the edge and come forward, then I'm going to get globs of paint out there. So I try to avoid that because I like to keep that laser cut edge. Now you can see I got a little bit there. I can sand it down or I can leave it, whatever. Once I get it put together, I'll decide what looks best. I can touch it up. Christine always has a great tip. You can touch it up with the paint, what is it, the furniture stain markers or the furniture paint markers, which you can usually get. Can you get those at Walmart? I know you can get them at like, I think hardware stores. I'm not sure. Let's see, was there anything else? Oh, I didn't read it to you. I just now saw that, Peggy. It says open 24 hours, laundry room, self-service. I didn't think about saying it out loud. You guys see it backwards, so I'm so sorry. You would do black and white, Peggy? I just think that's a very classic look. Let's get this dry and see how it looks and see if we need a second coat. Because I'll do that real quick before we move on to the letters. See, I'm working right here because it seemed like I got it thicker there. I'm going to go ahead and give this a second coat because I'm seeing a little bit of the color from the wood coming through. So get it pretty much dry. It dries pretty quickly. Okay. You notice I didn't pour the paint straight on the board because I do want to make sure I'm seeing those letters. You can still see them. Can you kind of see it? Well enough to place them. So that's why I'm going with a couple of thin coats rather than one really thick one. Okay, so going out toward those outside edges. There we go. Get some more paint. Wood like this, I mean, definitely I love the quality that Christina chooses in the 1/4 inch thick birch that she uses for her kits. It stains up beautifully if you ever want to stain your surface, but it just gives you a really nice smooth finish to your paint. Every once in a while I will find that a paint is very thin, and when it is more thin, because it typically has more water to it, it can be absorbed more by the wood itself and kind of open up that grain and make it a little bit rough. So a thicker paint usually helps to avoid that. But if you do find that happens, you can sand your surface lightly to smooth it back down if you need to. I think we got it. Okay. Now my letters should show back up after this dries. Let's get it dry. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a second coat. Peggy loves her kits. I know you do. Hi, Chris. How are you doing? Now, it is going to be a little more difficult to see them after a second coat, but once it's dry, and it will take a couple of minutes, that's why I'm going to set this aside, you'll be able to see it again. It's coming through now. It's just going to take a minute to dry. And I don't have to dry it fully because I'm going to set it aside and work on our other parts. So let's go ahead and move over to all of our letters and our outlines. Okay, these are going to be black. Okay, I'm going to carefully put my hanger pieces over here. I have a little more room. And let's just turn it this way so everything fits. Okay, I'm done with that sponge dauber, or you can use, do I have one like the sponge brush style in here? I don't know. I think I do somewhere, but it's buried. Or you can use a paintbrush. The paintbrush tends for me to go on thicker and a little more uneven. So there, you may have spots that are heavier than others. You may have an uneven surface from a paintbrush, so you might have to sand it. All of that. These little sponge daubers tend to avoid that problem for me. Okay, so now I'm getting black. So Peggy is agreeing on black and white. Anybody else have another color that they like, especially like in your laundry room? Because I'm just going to say, I think everybody needs one of these signs in the laundry room for the entire household to be reminded that it is self-service. You do not have to depend on Mama to do all of the laundry. Am I right? Can I have a show of hands of anybody else that agrees with that? Now, there is another little factor for me called control that I can't really let go of. So yes, I do the laundry because my husband has proven that if he is given control of the laundry, we'll just say he doesn't separate everything the same way I do, okay? He's fully capable of running that machine, loading and unloading, folding, all of that. Fully capable. It's the sorting part that bothers me. So I tend to control that. Is it just me? Is it just me? Christina's laughing at me again. Okay, we're going to get... The black paint goes a long way. I don't know if I will ever use this entire jar, but I am going to kind of smooth it out by dabbing it in my lid. And if you notice for this, like when I was painting the back, I went ahead and just stroked that sponge across. For the letters, I don't do that because they get caught on all the edges, and then I end up with a bunch of paint kind of glopping. I always use that word, but glopping around those edges. So I dab to start an application, and I'll show you real quick. I don't get full coverage, okay? Can you see? Yeah, it looks like moo. But you can see I miss spots, and that's okay because and you can also see there's a texture. See how with the shine on it, it kind of gets a little bit raised in spots. So after dabbing on a thin layer, then I go back and I just lightly swipe up and down for these up and down letters and around for the round letters. Just a light little swipe. Smooths it out and fills in those spots I missed. Pull the tape. So gets about 3 letters at a time. And now when it's wet, like right there, when it's wet, It's hard to tell if you've missed spots sometimes because the shine of the paint. So always go back after it's dry and check to make sure you didn't miss anything. So I will do that. I'm going to start back up here because self-service is pretty much dry. And then we will move on. I'm also going to do all the framework. All right, guys. So I have a question. I still have a couple of fall, two right there. I think those are the only ones that are specific to fall from my fall collection that I have not completed for you yet or demonstrated, that I'll be doing very soon. Are you all still crafting for the fall season? Or do you craft for fall? Do you only do like an everyday kind of crafting, generic, or do you like to craft for fall? Okay, glasses. So I can check the self-service words. Ah, I missed a spot on the E. A little bit here, a little bit there. There we go. Okay, that's touched up. And so I'm going to let laundry room dry. Let's work on these. He did the same thing as my husband, Rose. Is that what you're saying? He didn't. Not good at sorting laundry. Is that what you're saying? If he's in control, you won't have any laundry. Well, my husband is, honestly, I love my hubby. You know that. You guys know that. I talk about him every once in a while. He wants to help. He offers all the time, because on the weekends he's seeing me in and out of that laundry room over and over and over and over again, right? I am sure I'm not the only one. But, and I don't think he quite understands why I say no. There's two reasons, really. I mean, first of all, the control factor. I've got to make sure that they'll get sorted right. But he does. I mean, he does all the yard work. I don't help with the yard work. It is not my cup of tea. He loves being outside. It's his playground, so to speak. So, because he does all of that hard work, and we have a pretty big yard, I say no. I will take care of the laundry, even though it takes me all weekend to get it done. It's okay, because I'm kind of afraid he'll ask me to help out in the yard if I ask him to help with the laundry. So it's kind of, what is it? Job security, right? He would do okay. We just might have some, pink socks and underwear, or some gray colored dress shirts. Right? We're all good at different things. Exactly, Peggy. Very good point. We balance each other out, right? I think that's part of the purpose of a marriage. I don't know what it would be like to take care of everything myself. I don't look forward to that day if that ever happens, as far as, if my husband goes before I do. But I'm sure that I can take care of things. I just don't want to have to. I'm being a little bit of a brat. I like sharing the duties. Okay, we're almost there. This is actually going so quick. Partly because I'm only doing 2 coats. But this is really or 2 colors on this. This is a pretty easy kit. Unless you're going to be, doing any special paint. Okay, so I'm checking my spots. check this again after it's fully dry. Let's look at laundry room. Yeah, I need to check. Oop. Let's move this over. Trade spots here. I found a couple of spots I missed. I really want it to be good and solid. Okay, those are done. Let's see how close this is to being dry. It's pretty close. Let me go ahead and get the dryer to it so that I can set it aside and not have to worry about coming back again with my sponge dauber. Hannah is here. How are you? Alrighty. That's pretty much dry. It's just a few spots here. I think I see something I missed right there. Yeah, I see a couple more. Okay. And honestly, if I get it put together and then I come back and see some spots, I can touch it up with a little bitty paintbrush. Not a big deal. But you will, I do recommend, as always, sealing your paint, because it is chalk paint. It always needs to be sealed. If you use a high quality acrylic paint, it might not need to be sealed, but this chalk paint would be. So I always recommend going over your projects with a clear matte sealer. This is just the one that I like. It doesn't yellow, and I like the matte finish so that you really can't even tell it's got a clear coat over it. All right, that's done. That sponge dauber can go in the water. Now, before we put this together, I'm going to do the hanger. And, oh, forgot where I had set it. Let's move that right there. The hanger is going to be in the little clips. I'm going to stain it. Now, you don't have to do this piece. No, you do have to do this piece. This is the front, okay? This is how it's going to layer, right? So this has to be stained. I think this, I hadn't thought about I might do a silver finish on this. I'm going to go ahead and stain all of this. You don't have to worry about those, but you do have to do these pieces. These are the very front pieces. So these, and then the bar, the front piece, and the hanger are what you have to worry about. So you get to decide what colors. You might do the black so that it's still black and white for everything. I'm going to do a stained look. There's my little prop. I'm going to use a dark wax. And I have not used this one as a stain, so to speak, yet. But I'm going to see if I can get the color I want by using a wipe. If it's not dark enough, then I will come back and like brush it on and wipe it off. But this is a new one I got online from Amazon called Chalktique. You know, guys, it's not necessarily something I recommend. It's just what I got most recently because I couldn't find the brand I had been using. So let me go ahead and get it out of the lid. It's very creamy. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And it's going to be very similar in color, hopefully, as that laser cut outside edge. It's not going on very evenly. So how about, I'm going to swipe it on a little bit more lightly and then come back and clean it up. So I'm kind of, I guess I could have done this with a brush. Could have. These are going to get the coat. Let's go ahead and do those together. I want them to look like just dark, aged up clothespins and wooden hanger. And the bar, I am going to go ahead and do this. You could do the bar in like a silver finish or a metal finish like you would the top hanger. But I want it to be a wooden bar. Okay. See, I'm not doing everything because sometimes gluing to wax is not the best option. You don't want to have to glue wax surfaces together. So I'm leaving this raw, so when we glue our layers on top of each other, then they will be better adhered. If that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I think I will go. I'm just going to go gray. I'm not going to try a silver. I have a silver, but it's a very, very light silver. Rose has an appointment. Thank you for popping in. Hello, Miss Brenda. If I have missed anyone, I will come back and check the comments later. If you guys have questions about the wood kits or how this all goes together, please drop that in the comments, especially if you get to the end of the video and I have forgotten to explain something. So let me get, you know what do I have a dark gray in? That one's too dark. Okay. I think I will grab, where is it? Is this it? Yeah, my steel color. This feels like it's very thick. Let's see if I have another little sponge dauber over here. Yeah. Got this one, it's not bad. I just need a little bit for the hanger. And we're going to dab like we did the letters. I don't want to get too much outside on the outside edges. But bring it all the way down. And I think I need a little bit more. Yeah, this has gotten really thick. I'm glad I was able to at least get some out of it. I'm going to put some water in here and loosen it up for next time. Okay. So there, that's really washed out, but it's just a kind of a medium gray color. I don't have rub and buff, but I do have the Waverly paint called Silver Lining. I didn't really want a silver finish on it. Now, one thing to think about is the back of your sign. If you want to finish it out, you definitely can. It's layered. But I would wait until you're done. So you're only painting or staining or doing whatever you need to the pieces that are going to show. You don't want to do the layers. So we do the front pieces and then glue it together because it's a lot easier to paint that way. Now I'm going to swipe off my excess wax because I remember I put on fairly thick coat. So we're just going to thin it down a little bit there. Now that it has set, there we go. Kind of evens out the color. There. Alrighty. Everything has its finish except for the back. I have a feeling what I will do on the back is like I did on the wood colored pieces. I will stain it with the wax. Sorry, had to get a sip before my mouth got dry. All right, we're ready to assemble. I'm going to put the hanger on last. We're going to start with our backboard and all of our letters. Now I'm going to set these in place. You probably won't be able to see because of the glare, but now that it's fully dry, I can still see the letters. Can you see them? You can kind of see them. It's hard because this light really washes it out, but I can still see where they are going. Make sure my fingers are clean. I don't want to get stain on everything. I may come back and stain this afterward. Should we do a little wax treatment to it afterward? I don't know. I don't know. Carefully remove your pieces from the tape as you're ready to. I'm going to start with the frame. Okay, careful. This is kind of a big piece, but it's delicate. And all of the lines we'll come in and do the letters. So let's just set these little pieces are going to go in the very front of the, I can go ahead and put them on, of the clothespin spots, but they line up perfectly with the cutouts on the board, so you know exactly where they're going to go. Let me go ahead and put those on there, just because it'll take me a second to get them lined up, and it will make things easier to have those in place. I'm going to use Art Glitter Glue. It's a permanent glue. It's good for wood surfaces. It is water-based, so it's fairly easy to clean up, and it doesn't set up so quickly that I can't like fix mistakes if I get it lined up wrong. It does have this little metal tip that gives me more precision, and it just pops on and pops off, so I can put little dots on these littler pieces. Not necessarily for this, but for the littler pieces I'll need little dots. So I just put some dots on the back and line it up. Make sure it's all in place, and then press it down. See, it helps me. I have to line it up a little bit better than that. Okay. And that's gonna, having these in place is gonna help me get my frame in the right spots. So there's not a top or bottom to these little pieces. It's just a rectangle with rounded corners all the way around. Is Jamie here from Row 12 Creations? So glad you could be here, Jamie. Okay, so pay attention. Now this is not that big a deal because you know the arch is going to go this direction. I'll show you something that is more of a big deal on those lines here in a second. So let's do this first. You can put the glue down here, but I'm not as precise putting it down there as I am if I put it on the back of the pieces. And I just put several little dots. If this glue oozes out, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, get it lined up with the lines on the board, and then press it down. And I'm going to do this frame, and then I'm going to show you how it lines up. Actually, well, I don't know if you're going to be able to see all of the lines on the backboard to see, but I started to say something a second ago about how the glue works if it oozes out. It dries clear. I don't think I finished that sentence. Common for me. Okay, flip it over. So if I don't get it lined up perfectly, it's okay. I can adjust it, and it's not that big a deal, but that looks good. I got a little glue out here, that's okay. As you press it down, just make sure you're not shifting it. Okay. And everything should line up nicely. Get a little paintbrush to clean up what oozed out over here, just so that it dries quickly and I don't end up with like lumps. Okay. Now, so this is how it's going to line up. Your arch goes right to the bottom of your little clips, and just as if it was continuing on right here, then it's going to go around, so you have like a 1/4 inch gap. It's just, I think the black and white is just a really nice combination for this. Okay, now these lines, I need you to put them in place before you glue, because some of your, can you see that? Some of your ends are angled or curved, and you'll need to pay attention to whether that curve, the tip goes, you know, this way or this way. There's this guy. So it goes right there. This one is this. And it curves, it kind of goes up at an angle like that. Yeah. Similar because of the shape of the letter that's going underneath it. Here's a short one. I think it goes here. Yep, it angles down. And then this one. So the breaks where they angle are where letters are in between. And that determines which direction they're going to go. So let me go ahead and get these glued on. Same process as the frame. You do like this glue? There are other glues out there, and I've used, you know, Christina and I have talked about different glues in the past. I used Stick Fast for a long time, and I liked it, but man, it was hard on the cleanup, right? It's hard on cleaning my fingers and my nails and even my silicone mat. It would not come off my silicone mat unless I used some kind of debonder. So notice I'm just putting one end down and then lining up the other end. And I want it to be lined up here, but I'm also looking across at the piece that it continues from to make sure that's lined up. It's not perfect, but it's close. So I am much happier with the art glitter glue because it's really more like a wood glue rather than a super glue, right? Oh yes, and I can show you the label. I know if you want to take a screenshot, I know it's backward. I get it on Amazon. It's not cheap, but it has lasted quite a while, and I think I've only used like half a bottle. Okay, now let's just start working on our words. I did get that glued, yes. So open 24 hours. I want to show you something real quick. When you are removing your words from the tape, okay, this is just a tip from me. Rather than just yanking it off of the tape, what I like to do is basically pull the tape away from the back. So I'm going to hold my word and I am going to pull the tape away from it, because some of these little connection points are very thin, and if you go yanking the word, it can break. So it works a little easier for me if I go from the back side. Okay, let me go ahead and glue this one. Now you don't have to have glue on every single part, but my outside, my ends, and my outside. So there I've got dots all around, and I'm going to line up the top of my S here and the bottom of my H. Looks like everything's lined up, so I'm going to go ahead and press it down. And we'll just go backward. Oh, dropping. This shadow from my light, it just sometimes plays tricks on my eyes for my placement. Oops, see, that's crooked. There we go. You'd think with all of these lights that I have on because I always have these because it helps me, but then it can create a real shadow on my project. Oh, hold on. Okay, that is supposed to be a little bit higher. Put more glue on it then, Joey. You second guessing yourself, and now you've got to redo it. So the 2 and the 4 are slightly different levels. Okay, let me clean up some of that excess glue. Now, there. And then open. Now, all of my little letters for the rest of the sign could take me a couple of minutes. Don't forget to put glue on those thin little outside pieces. And let's go ahead and line up. Right. Oh, hang on. My P goes in the opening. There we go. There we go. Ta-da! So you can see now why you have that break in the line, because the P from open goes down there. And same thing when it comes to your F's and your L and your F on your words down below. All right. Here's the rest. I'm so glad this was taped on. It would have just flown across the room. Okay. Not what I want to have happen. Get that out of the way. And here we go. I'm just going to hunker down and get these glued on. I know I have been talking quite a bit. You guys talk now. Tell me. Tell me. I know several of you I have seen on here are big fans of Christina's kits. So I want to know what has been your favorite kit to make, if you've made them, or if you haven't, what is on your wish list? What glue has gotten so thick it's hard to get out? Oh, what kind do you use? I don't even know all of the different wood glues. I have Type Bond Thick and Quick, but just like the name, it's thick. And so it is not helpful on these little projects because I need a thinner glue to be able to not have it like stand out too much. Okay, I need paper towel. I oozed out some glue, so we're going to get my paintbrush cleaned up. There we go. So notice I am picking, oh, you can't see, I'm picking the letter up, but I'm not just yanking it off the tape, I'm kind of pushing the tape off of the back. Your Type On Thick and Quick multi-surface. So Christina is saying warm water and a little time mix well. So just put a little bit of warm water in it. Can I give you a tip on that myself? Now that I don't know if Christina would agree with this, but I recommend distilled water because anytime I put water, or I have put water in paints or pastes or inks, it sits on my shelf for a long period of time, it can grow science experiments if it's just tap water. Distilled water, I have not had that happen. So that is just my suggestion. Okay. We're getting there. You want the hanging scales? Oh, now is it just the one in my collection, Christina, or do you have another set of scales too? Because I have mine right over there, and it's so stinking cute. It's made to look like a hanging scale, but it sits on the table. doesn't hang. You're welcome, Peggy. Oh, this is just looking, I mean, getting these letters on here, it is so stinking cute. Coming up. Oh, that's a little high. Shift it down. I think my Y kind of came up a little bit too high. That's okay. My stuff never comes out perfect, just so you know. Don't know about any of you. If I try to make it perfect, I am going to be so disappointed. So I let go of that a long time ago. And we just do our best. And sometimes I make it imperfect on purpose to take that stress away. It's like, if I'm going to try to make this perfect, then I'm just going to disappoint myself. So let's just get rid of that idea of perfection. Hanging it over your sink, that would be cute. I keep checking to make sure it's even. It's like lined up. Okay. Here we go. So now, isn't that looking so cute? I don't think I'm going to age this with wax. I think I'm going to leave it. Did you guys give me your opinions on that a minute ago? I wasn't sure if I was going to do the wax on it and age it up. I'm afraid then you won't be able to read it as well. Okay. Whoop. There we go. Now, Self has some thin letters, so I think I got too much glue in a couple of spots. And like I said before, honestly, this glue dries clear, but it's a little bit shiny. And if it's thick, you might be able to see like a little bump. So just helps me to kind of swipe away a little excess. The straight black and white is Yummy per Leanne. That's funny. Edie's here. Hello. You can't draw a straight line, Rose. Neither can I. It is not my forte, drawing. Hence why I do stencils and decoupage and wood kits. And some stamps. Stamps and molds. That's pretty much what I do. Okay, let's get that lined up. There we go. And that's the front of the sign. Oops, I got a little glue on here. It'll dry. It's on my finger. Oh my gosh. That's so cute. It's so cute. We're not done. We got to get the hanger on there. So let's set that out of the way. And we have already put the little clip fronts on. So I need to do the back. The back of the hanger with the whole frame and everything goes on the very, very back. So it glues basically to the back of your clips here, okay? And then the hanger part also glues to it. So let's go ahead and put the hanger on the front. Can you see over here? Move this over. Okay, so you've got what we already stained, and I'm going to put some pretty big blobs. Just going to squeeze my bottle a little bit harder to get more blobs out. I don't put it all the way to the edge though, because I don't want it to ooze out. And we're going to line up the little notch at the top and all of the outside edges. Okay, everything seems to be laying flush. If anything had gotten like a heavy coat of paint where it got absorbed a lot of water and made it warp a little bit, you could just use some clips to hold it together. But this is laying really flat. Oh, it's so cute. It's so cute. Okay, now we're going to put the glue on these guys and glue those to it. God, didn't get that lined up right. Let's get it lined up better. The top. There we go. Ta-da! Remove that. Don't move your hanger part while it's setting up. Press that down. And interestingly, I have my cardboard, it's kind of worked out, underneath the base of the board. So it's giving me that extra layer. I'll show you here in a second. Let me get this so that I can press these together. So that just worked out. Okay, let me show you. I'm going to pick it up. I don't want to put pressure. Okay, so you can see how there's an extra layer now back here, and there's a difference in height, right, from the back of the board and the back of the hanger. So because it was setting on the cardboard, it made it more even, so I could put pressure just on the clips and it's not tilting, right? So that was an accident, happy little accident right there. I think everything is pretty well stuck. I think we're done. Did you guys give me your opinions on whether we should add wax? It might be cute to do that. And something else you could do as a little aging kind of style, you could sand the outside edges of your letters to kind of show the wood through a little bit, make it look a little bit more primitive if you want. Same thing if you did your hanger in like a black color, you could sand. Did I say shave? Did I say shave? I meant sand. Don't shave it, sand it. You can save. How many different words can I throw in here? Sand outside edges if you have a dark paint, and it will show the wood through. Oh my gosh, it's been a long day. So here we go. This is your laundry room self-service, or is it self-serve? I don't know, did that interrupt? We had an emergency alert come through. Okay. There we go. Thank you for being here. You will find this kit in the featured links or in the comments. I will also post a link to it when I get the picture posted, which I should be able to do here this afternoon. You like it like it is? I need some coffee. Oh boy, if I have coffee now, I will not sleep tonight. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Peggy. I appreciate you guys so much. And Hannah, Pam likes it the way it is too. Good. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. I'll leave it like this. But it's so cute. And look, it's got a built-in hanger for the top. Once everything is dry and set, you hang it from this. Perfect, right? Okay. Oh, thank you, Edie. You are welcome, Christina. You guys have a great rest of your day. I want to see your kits once you make them. And if you have any questions along the way, you can always message me, message Christina, drop it in the comments, whatever you need. Have a wonderful day. I will see you guys soon. And thank you for letting me be here, Christina. I appreciate you.